Hey, good morning, all. Welcome back. So, this is our session number one, and which will be presented by Guna Narayanan. He is a front-end developer at JFrog. So, he will be talking on Quadtree and its implementation using D3 JS, I guess. So, over to you, Guna. So, you can talk about yourself. So, are you guys able to hear us? All good? Cool, awesome. So, over to you, Guna. Guna, I think, yeah, you can start talking.
Yeah, thank you, Patro. So let me share my screen. Okay, hope my screen is visible.
Yes, I can see it. I mean,
Okay,
you guys can provide thumbs up if it's okay.
okay, so going to be cool. Yeah, you can see. So yeah, today I'm going to talk about Quadtree and its implementation on maps using D3. So let's get started. So before going into the topic, let me start with a question. So I've searched for a cafe coffee day in a Bangalore map, and I see a lot of cafe coffee days there. So anyone give me a number? I'll give you a few seconds for you to count. Maybe it's going to be difficult. I know. Sorry. Okay. Let me check the chat. No one has replied. So yeah, that's my whole point. It's going to be difficult to guess the number, I know. So yeah, so let me give me an introduction about myself. My name is Guna Narayanan. I go by the name Guna. I am a front-end developer at JFrog, and this is my social ID. So you can connect to me on Twitter if you want. So yeah. So there is one more thing I need to tell. You can go to the site jfrog.com/show notes. Our slides will be uploaded there, and you can even rate my talk, and there will be a video posted of my talk as well. And last but not the least, there is a raffle which you can enter. 5 JFrog shirts will be given. Whoever wins the 5 will be given a JFrog t-shirt, and they'll be contacted by email. There is also a QR code. You can scan that and directly go to the link. You can take a picture. I'll give you some time, and remember you have to give a full mark for my task to get the t-shirt. Just kidding. So if you want, you can take a screenshot or take a picture. Maybe later you can use that. That should be fine. Yeah. So let's get on with the topics for the day. So I have 5 topics that we can go through. So one is clustering. So what is actually clustering, and then we are going to see what is a quad tree, and then we are going to see how we are going to implement clustering on maps using a quad tree method. And then I'm going to get right into a demo to show you how we have implemented clustering in our maps in our JFrog platform. And then finally, we'll discuss why there are a lot of maps API and libraries, why I went with Quadtree implementation using D3. So that's about today's topic. Let's get on with it. So let's get on with clustering of maps, markers. So did anyone get it right? Actually, there are 22 cafe coffee days on that map that I showed you. So you would have found it difficult to test because as you see in this position, there are 7 and this is a very small area and it's very difficult to find out how many actual cafe coffee days were there at that exact location. So the thing is, you might want to ask, oh, okay, why do I need to know the exact number of cafe coffee days and all that? I get your point, but clustering is not only about counting the number of markers in a single position. There are a lot of things associated with it. So let me get to the first point. Obviously, visual helps. So you're going to see a better visual when you are going to cluster subpoints. You don't want to see some 1,000 markers at a single position all close by. Then you're not going to see the map itself. The whole thing is going to be covered by markers. So clustering helps in that way. So you can just number the items, and that would help massively. And heat maps. So you know about heat maps, how heat maps work. So heat maps, we give different colors at different positions based on the attention that area is getting, right? So if there are multiple things in a particular point, then you're going to have maybe a red color or orange color, depends on your choice, and that's how a heat map works. So clustering, the heat maps uses the exact way what clustering does. So it uses to calculate the number of things at single particular point, and then you can show a color based on that. So clustering helps in that. And last but not the least, the performance improvement. So when you're going to show a lot of markers are nothing but SVG nodes, right? So each marker has some properties, and you're going to have 2 to 3 nodes based on the design your marker has, and it's going to occupy a lot of your memory, right? So it's going to slow down your system or the browser. So making it into a single marker with a number is going to greatly improve your performance as well. So clustering would help in that as well. As you can see here, this is a Google map which has a default inbuilt clustering. At first there are 15 markers, but when you zoom in, each marker is being divided, right? So we have to, while clustering, we also have to consider the zooming as well. So you can't just zoom in and still have the 15 markers at the same place. You have to consider, okay, I've zoomed into this level and I have to show each at their own places, and whichever falls again under the same point will have to have a cluster again. So the 15 is divided into 7, 8 and all those, and again when you zoom in, each marker is displaced to its own place. So that also we have to consider while you are doing clustering in a map. Cool. So let's start with Quadtree. You would have learned in your academics, but let me give a small intro what a Quadtree is. A Quadtree is a tree data structure. So a tree data structure is nothing but a parent node, and there are some branches coming out from it, and the branches doesn't link with each other, but it maybe the number of branches depends on the structure actually. So a Quadtree, as it suggests, has 4 child nodes. So each parent node will be divided into exactly 4 nodes. So consider this square. So the whole square is a parent, and if it is equally divided into 4 quarters, then each quarter is a child node. So this is how you are going to segregate. This is how you are going to imagine a structure of a Quadtree. So 1 square and divided into 4, and then this one will be divided into 4. It goes on. That's how Quadtree structure is done. So let me show you an example to understand Quadtree better. I have designed a code pen here. So I've added this on the slide as well. Maybe later if you want, you can go and check it out. So here, as you see, this is a square here. I'm going to divide it into 4 sections. So let me keep some random points. So yeah, as you see here, they are divided into 4 nodes, right? So each one is 1 node. So when I hover, you can see the point highlighted there. So they are divided into equal halves. Now, if you consider the first node, which is among somewhere like here, like I showed here. So this one is a separate node now. This the first one, which is here. So when I'm going to place some more points, it's again going to get displaced into several nodes. So the point here, the small one is again getting divided, and each one becomes their own node. As you can see here, each one is a different node now. So this is how Quadtree works. So whenever you keep a point, it's going to create one more node for that. When there are more than 1 point, that is going to get displaced, and each of the square is going to become another 4 squares. So that's how Quadtree structure works. So yeah, so let's get on with implement clustering on maps. Now you understood what is a Quadtree, and you understood what is a clustering, and now you're going to see how we are going to cluster the points on a map using D3. So D3 offers a API called Quadtree. So using that, it creates an object with the data that you have provided into a cluster that you have formed, like this one. It's going to form an array of arrays like this. So what you're going to do is, you have some points on a map. You're going to put it on the Quadtree API, send them to Quadtree API, and it will cluster the points, and you're going to receive an object, Quadtree object, with the structure, Quadtree structure. So next, what you're going to do is, as I have said before about the zoom thing, how Quadtree cluster the points is, you have to in the maps, what you're going to do is, you're going to separate them into different clusters or grids. Okay, so each grid will see if there is a point on it, and if there are more than 1 point on the grid, it's going to cluster them. So that's how it's going to do, and this is going to be done based on zoom level. because when you zoom in, the clusters are going to get increase or decreased, and based on that, the clusters will be formed again. So once you're done with clustering, you know what all the grids that have points, then you're going to add a marker for each grid. So you can't show one marker and say when you zoom in, okay, you're going to have different markers there. That's going to not help visually. So what you're going to do is you either add a marker with a number or a color, maybe whatever your wish, and that's how you're going to differentiate. Okay, this point is having more than one or two markers, right? So this is the code. This is a small example I've shown you here. So I'm passing the data points I have on the map here, and I'm getting a quadtree object. So the quadtree structure is created now. So what I'm going to do is, the cluster range is what is the size of the grid on the map. So as I said, the map should be divided into multiple grids, and the cluster range is the one side of the square. Okay. So using that range, what you are going to do is go to each grid, and we are going to check it in the quadtree method that it provides, quadtree.visit. What it gives you is the node, the particular each node, it traverses each node, the quadtree.visit, and it gives the edges of each node. And what you're going to do is find out if any point, any cluster or point fall on that particular grid. And once it falls on that, you're going to push data into that particular array. And once it is done, you have a grid with all the set of data. What you're going to do is you have to calculate a center point. Why this is necessary is, once you're going to cluster the points, you have to decide on where to show the particular marker. So it's always best to calculate the center point of a cluster where you can show the marker. So you know, okay, this is the center point, and when you zoom in here, it might again get divided. So you don't have the user to think, okay, that's where all the points lie, right? The cluster may be big, so you have to show the center point is the right place to show the marker. Cool. Okay, so let's get on with the demo now. I'll give you a small demo of how we have implemented Quadtree, using Quadtree, how we have implemented clustering in our page. So this is a JFrog platform. Here you see a lot of platform deployments, one in Mountain View and in Buenos Aires. We have 2 in Netanya, Tel Aviv, and we have 3 in New Delhi, Ahmedabad, Mumbai. And here we show the status of everything. So this home one is the one in Mumbai. So we have India, Asia's attacks, and we show the status. The status is the marker that we use here, as you can see. So right now everything is up and running. We have a storage info, all the other things you have here. So what I'm going to do here is, let me remove the selection there. We have New Delhi, Ahmedabad, and Mumbai here. So all 3 are clustered. You know, the exact location is not this place. Maybe it's the center of the cluster. But what I'm going to do is, let me zoom in and show you what happens when the map becomes bigger for India, especially when I'm zooming in that place. As you see here, the New Delhi was part of this cluster, but when we zoomed in, this has its own cluster now, so it's going out of the scope. So New Delhi falls apart of Ahmedabad and Mumbai, and when I zoom in again, the cluster becomes little more smaller, and Ahmedabad and Mumbai falls out as well. So we have 3 different markers here, but when you zoom out, all were in the same place. So this is how clustering works when you're zooming in and zooming out. So when I again zoom out, this is what happens. To show the cluster thing, I'll show you the example of Netanya and Tel Aviv. So Netanya and Tel Aviv are separated just by 31 kilometers. So probably they'll always fall under the same cluster. So when you're going to zoom into the full, so I have a limit set on zooming. Maybe you can increase that, but for me, what happens is it's always under one cluster. So it will always be shown as two markers. So yeah. Cool. So this is what clustering does to a map. This is how it visually helps in improving the performance as well as the to find out how many markers are there.
Hey, Guna, I think there is a question. I think Akshay has asked, is there any reason for choosing 4 nodes only for marker display implementation?
Okay, so let me answer this way. Quadtree is a data structure, so it is not I decide, okay, only 4 nodes. That is a data structure concept, like list and double list or whatever. So Quadtree structure is one node is separated into 4 nodes. So it's just let me show you maybe here. Yeah. So why we maybe you can do different techniques. Maybe you can use a list or a linked list or whatever to do clustering. It depends on you. But why Quadtree is best suitable for maps is we have a plane. So we have a plane in SVG. This is a plane. It starts from 0, 0, as you would have seen in geometry. It starts from 0, 0, 1, 0, like that it goes, right? This one will become, say it is the length is 5 and this height is 5, then it will be like 5, 5 at the end point here. So that's how the plane in SVG is. So when you're going to have, suppose consider this is a SVG, and Quadtree, what it does is it makes it easier to traverse and find out if a point is placed on a particular cluster or not. So with linked list or double linked list or whatever concept, it might be difficult, or you can find a better way than Quadtree as well. I'm not blocking that. I'm just giving why Quadtree helps. So when you're going to search for this particular point, Quadtree, what it does is it won't go to the other nodes, right? It directly knows the node where this particular section will be present. Suppose I give this point, it knows, okay, this is the node that particular point will be present, but it doesn't know exactly where it is. So what it will do, it will go through this node and then search for the nodes. It doesn't go through the other 3 nodes. So you skip, like, when it is 4, you actually skip 1/4 of the search timing. So it's just partitioning of space and time, right? So it makes it very fast in searching. So it's not about only 4 points. If there is any data structure concept that has a better way, then obviously we could try that. But right now D3 has a Quadtree API, and Quadtree is one of the best ways to do it. So I choose Quadtree. I hope that answers your question. Sorry, I didn't see the chat. Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'm done with the demo. So let me tell you why I didn't go with any map APIs and libraries. So that as I did my research before doing the implementation of clustering, there are multiple API libraries available, map API libraries available, like Leaflet, Mapbox, Google Maps API. They are outstanding, obviously, because there are a lot of people working on it, and it's going to be well maintained and all that. It's an open source library, and some of them are, and it's going to help you a lot when you're going to use that. So let me tell you why I didn't go with the library. So first thing is framework granularity. So it's going to weigh heavily on your application when you're going to use external library. That is for sure, because you might not need everything what they're offering. Maybe, as you can see in our map, it's going to be very simple, like a small map. We have some own set of markers, and we have when you're clustered, when we hover over, we show some data here. We have a pop-up here as well. It's all designed to our needs, and we haven't used a lot of libraries. We just used D3. That's it. Nothing else was used here. Just D3 was used, and with that we achieved everything. So next thing is restricted to the APIs available. So one more thing is Leaflet, Mapbox, Google Maps API for that matter comes with a set of animations or whatnot, whatever they have APIs they have given. They are restricted to what they have given. So you cannot be creative and do whatever you want on that. So you have to be choosy and take whatever they offer, and you have to do it. I'm not saying they are not offering less; they are offering more, but maybe not everything will be according to what you need. So that's one thing. And integration with other visualization. So as you see, D3 is one of the best framework that can integrate with almost any visualization if you want. So you can create anything you want, and you also can integrate with anything you want. So that's one advantage you have here. All it comes down to the customization that you can do with your own framework. So instead of choosing one, that's also a good option, to be frank. But based on your requirement, if you think, okay, I have to do something different from everything that is available, then it's better to go with D3. That's why I've used D3 alone. So yeah, any questions? So yeah, you can go to that link to enter the t-shirt raffle as well.
Okay, so guys, if you guys have any questions, so we'll take another 2 minutes. If you have any questions, then I can answer that.
Cool.
Oh, I think I see one guy, someone has raised a hand.
Okay.
Selvam. Okay.
Yeah, hi.
Yes, Selvam, you can ask your question.
Yeah, hi Guna. Thank you
Hi.
so much for the wonderful session.
Thank you.
So, I just want to know, like using D3, like you can only do any map related visualization, or like you can do related like any kinds of chart visualization.
Any kind of chart you can do. If you see, if you go and search in GitHub for any chart libraries, like I have contributed to billboard.js. So if you see there, everything is designed with D3. So this D3 is kind of a base library with which you can design a lot of things.
Okay.
Right, so D3 is, I think, like how JavaScript is for Vue or React or Angular. D3 is for chart and visualization libraries. Most of it, not everything. Maybe some would have developed their own library like D3, but D3 serves as the base. So you can Google and find out a lot made with D3 actually.
Okay. So predominantly we are using high charts for most of our
Okay.
chart visualization. So
Okay.
can D3 be the replacement for that?
Sure, sure. You don't have to do exactly use D3 and do a visualization as well. If you think, okay, it's going to be difficult for me to do from the scratch with a D3, because D3 is a kind of library which has lot of APIs with which you can do anything and everything. So you can choose libraries like Billboard.js, or many
Okay.
are there. So using that, they've already designed a chart
Oh,
library with
okay.
D3. So D3 serves as the base for it. So yeah.
All right. Okay. Okay. Good. Good. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Sanjam. So I think one more hand has been raised by Firoz Khan. So Firoz, you can ask a question. Firoz, we are not able to hear you. Firoz, you there? Sorry, looks like some issue from Firoz. And Firoz, you can type also if there
Yeah.
is some issue. I think Akshay has one more question, Guna.
Yes.
So you can
So
answer that.
yeah. So the question is, they've used Google Map API with 5,000 markers to display across the map. Is it bad for performance? So it depends. When you're using external library, you can't. Maybe once you use only, you can judge whether it's going to hinder your performance or not. I have personally not used Google Maps API, but maybe or may not be. Depends. If it is doing a hindrance on your performance, then you have to consider clustering as well. But if it is not, then you can good to go. But doesn't mean, maybe because Google Maps API is a big team they're working on, so they might have uh, went with a better way than Quadtree or something. Okay, initial load is slow. Maybe depends on the markers. As I said, markers are nothing but SVG nodes. Even if you use external library, they are going to obviously use SVG. So SVG is again going to have 2 to 3 nodes for each marker. So if you are having some 5,000 markers, it's going to have some 15 to 20,000 nodes for each marker. So depends on how well they have designed their library. Okay, thank you. One more question. Just starting to learn D3 for one of the office projects. Any suggestion for learning sources? Tutorial on observables by D3 team itself. So, okay, so I might not be the right person to answer this question, maybe because I didn't learn D3 from scratch. I learned when and as and when it is required. So D3 is it's very vast. You can't just learn all of D3 and try to implement, because a lot of things are there in D3. Maybe start with what you're going to implement and start learning from that. That should help you. Yeah.
Okay, any more questions? So cool. So I think we're good. Then Guna, thank you very much. It was a wonderful session introducing D3JS, how we can use that with map. Then what we'll do, guys, we'll end the session, and then in a 2 minutes we'll have another session. So see you guys there in our coming session, which is on Closer by Anisha. So in couple of minutes we'll see you all on that session. Stay tuned. Bye bye. Thank you, Guna.
Thank you, everyone.